How's it going, YouTube? This is Wake Run Collapse, and while I open box number 17 out of Shining Legends, today I'd like to talk to you about balance. Not like gymnastics balance or anything like that, because that's something I will never have any sort of authority or know-how about, but balance in your life. I think it gets overlooked way too often, even by myself, and this conversation is as much for me as it is for anybody who's watching this. Now, it has finding balance in your life has a lot of implications for folks who upload regularly to YouTube, if you've got a YouTube channel. Especially if you've been doing this for a while or are making a real run at a consistent and successful channel. And you have to find out, based on what's happening in your life, what gives you the type of balance that you need to be capable of doing all of this at once. And I think a lot of people either get caught up in the idea that they need to be successful at YouTube against everything else. Oftentimes it runs into your ability to complete other tasks or just, live the life that you've been leading prior to uploading to YouTube. But a lot of the struggles that some of us, I can't speak specifically for anybody in particular aside from myself and my own experiences, but I know I'm not the only one, struggling to upload consistently and avoid the things that can cause upload schedules to fall apart. Now, of course, something unforeseen can happen with everyone. You can have your camera die, you can have, some sort of major family crisis or life thing just in general taking up your time and requiring your full attention and focus. But I've noticed that this has been happening to me a lot lately, and I think it's because I'm out of balance. I would definitely like to have an upload schedule for the channel that is, very thorough, that is consistent, that delivers the type of content that folks want to see, that people subscribe for, while also meeting or exceeding their expectations regarding, leading the path towards other stuff. A lot of the things that I've wanted to do, that I've, dedicated myself to do, I've not been great at doing for the past few months. Stacks of packs openings, booster pack frenzy, those don't see the light of day nearly as much as they ought to. In the Booster Box Wednesday series, well, we've already abolished that. And there are times, multiple times in the past, I'd say probably 6 to 8 months, that I've gone without uploading anything for quite some time. And that's not the way I want the channel to be, but it's because I struggle to find balance. Now, if you're unable to juggle all the things that you need to do in your life, then something has to go in order to allow for that time. But in a lot of cases, it's simply because the work isn't being done. And it's weird to think of it that way. Well, you're a YouTuber, you like uploading videos, so why aren't you uploading videos when you have time to upload videos? Well, there's no right or wrong answer. There's no specific one-size-fits-all answer for that. Some people have other stuff that they want to do. They dedicate their lives to, real-life friendships and things like that. Sometimes people just get worn out. Sometimes people pull 3 ultra-rare Mewtwo's out of a case. That has nothing to do with that, though. I'm just befuddled by this and feel very, very fortunate. But there are a lot of different things. Sometimes I gotta say, I just don't have the energy to upload. And if I really focused on it, yeah, I could get an upload out every single day. I could film a week in advance, and always film a week in advance. Let's get another Mewtwo. And consistently be ahead of the game so that when something happens that requires me to be at work until midnight, or, something crazy along those lines, I'm covered. But really, what I'm actually struggling to do is figuring out how to live my best life. And it seems like a weird thing for somebody my age to struggle with, but it's constantly changing. You're never going to have that stone cold solid lock on what you want to do and where you want to be and everything else that could possibly go on in your life. I thought I would. When I was, 14, 15, 16 years old, I thought to myself, when I become an adult, then blank. And that's a real fallacy that I think people should do very well to avoid. Because your goals, your obligations are going to change repeatedly. Your interests are going to change. I mean, I'm lucky enough that I've been interested in uploading, Japanese TCG videos for the past almost 5 years. But my other interests are changing as well. My other obligations are changing. My life situation changes all the time. And I thought it was going to be more of a, once I hit 25, everything's going to be pretty much set in stone, and any sort of major life decisions that I make are going to be few and far between. But that's not really the case. And there are still things that I'm not doing that I would like to do on a daily basis. I'd like to be able to hit the gym more. I'd like to be able to plug in a video game and play it. I even buy new video games and don't play them. Like, I've got the Zodiac Age version of FF12, I've got FF15 from last year. I haven't played a minute of either of those games. And I love Final Fantasy games, I don't get to it. But on the flip side, if you're the type of person who needs to plan to be able to be successful in balancing out your life, that actually ends up being counterintuitive and counterproductive, strangely as it may seem. I mean, let's say, for instance, you want to make a list of all the things that you want to do in your life on a daily or on a weekly basis. You want to dedicate X amount of time to doing, Y, Z, and W things. Eventually, you could, get to that point where you can consistently say, I'm hitting the gym 4 times a week for 30 minutes a day. And I'm uploading 5 days a week to my YouTube channel, and I'm working all my hours at my job, plus I'm doing this other thing for a while, and I'm playing Pokemon Go, on a regular schedule. But the problem with specifically scheduling those things is that eventually you're doing it because it's on the schedule, not because you wrote the schedule with that type of balance in mind. So it's important not to be too strict with your rules for yourself, and you end up just following the rules because you think that they're in place for your own good, and then your priorities kind of get messed up anyways. I had this problem where I was hitting X number of steps on my pedometer for a certain number of days in a row, and this became really problematic for me because I realized that, I initially started doing it for the exercise, but eventually I was beholden to the goal. I mean, the same thing can happen in Pokemon Go. If you're a Go player, you can say to yourself, man, I really want to hit this level, so I should be grinding this much experience every single day. And eventually, a lot of goals like that become more about the process than the goal, and you almost make yourself feel guilty or bad about not getting, your 20,000 experience for the day, or something like that. And that kind of stuff bleeds into life too. It's not all about your pedometer, or your steps, or your YouTube goals, or anything like that. It's about finding a path that's going to give you the balance that you need without restricting you to do specific tasks in a specific order. If that makes any sense to you. I mean, as of this going up, tomorrow I'm going to a concert. And I couldn't be happier about it. I'm stoked that I'm able to go. But if I had a week where I had to, do a lot of work, if I had to, say, write performance appraisals or something at my job, and then I had to do some other things, and then I had to do Coldplay also. By the way, it's Coldplay that I'm going to. For the 3rd time, then maybe some of those things fall by the wayside, or I feel guilty about it and stay up super late trying to complete them. And really, what's that about? See, basically, all I'm advocating is that you set out a life plan for yourself that allows you to do the things that you want to do, but also the freedom to feel okay if, from time to time, you're unable to accomplish those goals. Because you have to convince yourself that it's worth it to come back to it, to keep at it, to tell yourself that this is something I want to do now, not something that I'm doing because I have done it in the past. So, I hope that helps somebody out there. It's helping me just to talk about it. And thanks for watching.